Welcome to the Empowered Spirit Show. This is your host, Terry Ann Hyman. I'll explore the connection to the human spirit in a way that helps to navigate your life, including crisis. I am passionate about helping you to open up to your intuition and the metaphysical world of spirit to find your confidence in your own inner guidance. Take a pause, be inspired, learn ways to show up focused, centered, and more dynamic in your everyday life.
Welcome back to the Empowered Spirit Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me today. This episode is being sponsored by Ritual and Shelter. Are you looking for a magical place to shop and hold space? Check out Ritual and Shelter online or in Homewood, Alabama. Browse through their bookshelves covering topics such as energy healing, crystal healing, Reiki, chakras, auras, the Akashic Records, shadow work, astrology, and earth-based healing. You can also find herbal teas and tinctures alongside their crystals and oils to help establish a mindful mindset and fluid ambience before meditation, ritual work, and reflection. Ritual and Shelter is dedicated to providing one-on-one, in-depth conversations with customers to help them find the most efficient healing methods and resources that match their unique interest and energy. They offer tarot sessions, Reiki, sound bowl, and crystal healing, and now they are offering witch consultations. Visit ritualshelter.com to book an appointment and bring peace back to the body, mind, and spirit. You can also find them on Instagram at Ritual Shelter Shop, as well as Pinterest at Ritual Plus Shelter. As this podcast goes to air, we find ourselves in the heart of spring. We've just passed that big old full moon in Scorpio, which has illuminated our path, allowing us and encouraging us to reflect on what's going on. This is the perfect moment for you to shed that excess energy that no longer serves you. If you think about it, kind of like tending to your garden, what are you noticing now? I know for me, a lot of weeds are coming up, but if I only focus on the weeds, I'm not going to see all the beauty growing in the herbs and the vegetables and the flowers all around. So much beauty, so much abundance. So it is a choice on what we choose to focus on. Life is a metaphor, right? And if we can focus on what we want to see versus all those negative thoughts or all that churning of what isn't happening, that's what we're going to grow more of. I, for one, don't want to grow more weeds. I do want to focus on that new growth, that prosperity, all those new seeds that I've been planting. What about you? Do you find yourself constantly churning the same old thoughts? I really like to ask that question. I guess I heard this from Michael Singer. Who's doing the talking? Who's doing the listening? What are you focusing on? Do you need help in learning how to switch your mind around, do a little rewiring and focusing on what you want to see coming in? I do have some openings in my private mentoring, the Empowered Spirit program for this spring season. In this program, we learn so many tools and techniques to help you rewire the brain, create new and better habits to get you out of all those limited beliefs that keep you stuck. Work does come with a warning. It will change your life. It will help you to show up stronger and better. Let go of those limited beliefs. Find new methods of showing up for your path. You may change your job. You may find yourself speaking up, but you will overall find more of your own divinity coming in and ways in which you can show up in the truth of your soul's journey. I'll put the link to schedule a call in the show notes. This episode is also being brought to you by Expand. You're invited to join us in person on June 7th for Expand. Awaken your inner mystic in Atlanta, Georgia, or attend anywhere with our live stream options, all put on by Sacred Stories. Expand will bring knowledge and experience together. I'll be a part of the storytelling panel, sharing my story through my collaboration with Freddie Silva's book, Portals, Energetic Doorways Through Mystical Experiences. You can learn from acclaimed medium like Susan Geisman, Freddie Silva, Trisha McCannon, and others during this weekend. I'll drop the links for this in the show notes as well. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how you can get out of the mind and drop into your heart. My guest is Cissi Williams with her latest book, Your heart knows how to heal you. And in this episode, we talk about the heart, the flow of energy through each of those chambers, and how each of those chambers relate to the flow of the seasons for your path for greater health and wellness. Before we begin, let's take a moment to pause and center and bring our energies together. So, wherever you are, if you can, close your eyes for a few moments. Taking a nice deep inhale, breathing up the body. And as you exhale, bring all your energy in, slowing down. Inhale, expanding the breath up the body. And as you exhale, calling in the sacred elements, the fire, the air, the earth, the water, to help us open up, holding our energy within. Taking another deep inhale and exhale, dropping right into the heart, right into the deepest part of your heart, feeling that connection, your spirit and the greater spirit, source, creator. Know that you are loved, guided, protected, feeling all this energy coming in around us as we call in our Reiki masters, the teachers that have come before us, calling in the angels to open our heart with joy and love, calling in the crystal beings for amusement, magnification, and now calling in the higher self right above the crown to help receive these messages for you. Taking another deep inhale and exhale. And again, inhale and exhale as we begin to ground our energies, dropping into the heart, feeling that energy of your heart opening up, the illumination of the third eye. And as you're ready, blinking the eyes back open, coming back. My guest, Cissi Williams, is an osteopath, naturopath, NLP trainer, and master practitioner in hypnosis, a teacher of shamanic energy medicine and Seer magic. She is also initiated as a priestess of Freya and the author of the Wellbeing Handbook and Transformational NLP. She lives in Cotswold, England. So let us welcome Cissi to the show. Welcome, Cissi.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a delight to be here with you today.
Congratulations on your new book, Your Heart Knows How to Heal You. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I felt it was really important that it is actually Your Heart Knows How to Heal You, because it wasn't about me going on a journey to heal my heart. It was my heart taking me on a journey to heal me and to heal my life. And I feel that that is one of the core messages in the book, that we let our heart become our teacher. So it will guide us to where we're meant to be.
Such an important point, because so many of us are guided by our mind, right?
Yeah.
And we often hear, get out of the mind, drop into the heart. But I think you're going to help explain that a little bit deeper for our listeners. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I do like to go back and just kind of start, like, what led you to writing this book now?
Well, it was more that my heart actually led me to write the book. So initially, the whole journey started on a full moon in November 2019. So just before COVID hit. It was quite an incredible year that year, when I had a heart attack. And as I found myself on that journey with my heart, I recognized I had like two choices. I could either go down the path where I could feel helpless, that this is just my fate. My mother had a heart attack when she was 48. I was then 51 at this stage. We have a blood clotting disorder. And I could really feel that fear and helplessness wanting to rise up and grab me from like the lower world and just pull me down. And this was actually at the hospital, the first time I was alone in the hospital, when my husband went to get some sandwiches. And that's when it really hit me that I'd had a heart attack. And then I could also see I had this other choice where I could let my heart teach me. I could let my heart become my teacher. And I had been on a path of healing for quite some time before this happened. I started my healing journey back in 1992. when I was in a severe depression. I was then 24. I had suicidal thoughts, and I was bulimic. And then I had a dream where I saw myself hanging dead from the ceiling in my room. And as I woke up from that dream, I realized I had to change. I had to change my thought patterns. I could no longer blame my dad, who was a severe alcoholic, for how I was feeling. I could no longer blame my ex-boyfriend for how I was feeling. I had to actually take responsibility. And I prayed, and that was the first time I prayed. And I could feel this feeling I should go back home to Stockholm. And the next day I was in my hometown. I went past a bookshop. It was an esoteric bookshop. I'd never seen it before. And as I went inside, it was like 3 books fell into my lap. And it was The Power is Within You by Louise Hay, Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain, and Love is the Answer by Gerald Nampolsky. And those of us who've been on the path for a while, we recognize those books being huge classics back in the early 90s. And as I sat down in this bookshop and I started reading these books, the darkness just lifted. And that was such a miracle, because I was really, really trapped in it. And I felt as if I was being bathed in light. It's the only way I can describe it. And I started to read these books. I did all the exercises. I read many more books. I healed my depression in 6 weeks and my bulimia in 4 months. And also started to hear this voice from my soul, like the guidance from spirit, that I was meant to study osteopathy and naturopathy. And I didn't know what that was when I first got the guidance. And then a year later, from hitting rock bottom in 1993, I started on my osteopathic training. So I had been on that path for quite a while, and I've been on the shamanic path for a while as well. When this happened, I was teaching shamanic energy medicine and had journeyed deeper and deeper, from healing my mind, then journeying deeper into the feminine, into the ancient wisdom traditions. And here I was, surrendering to my heart, letting my heart be my teacher. And I felt peace descend. I did feel that similar sort of grace as I felt in that bookshop back in 1992. So I knew that somehow it would all be okay. And I didn't know how. And it was never about my heart healing. And it was always about, because the mind can very easily get involved in the healing journey, and it want to fix the body, and it want the heart to be a good little heart and do as it's told. And that was never my intention. It was truly to let my heart become my teacher, my shamanic teacher in that way. The first thing my heart did as we got back from the hospital was to immediately change my diet. I already had a good diet. I'm a naturopath. But it really put me on quite an extreme diet, where I could only have fruits and veggies, tons of garlic capsules. I can't take any medication for the heart. I'm actually allergic to it. So I had to go down the natural route. And it very quickly got these were all natural blood thinners as well. So it very quickly got my body back into balance. My blood pressure dropped, all of that. But then came the real teaching, which was when he wanted me to journey into the structures around my heart and inside my heart, into the 4 chambers and also my coronary arteries. And that's where the teaching began, as I then journeyed in, using my skill set as an osteopath, where we know about the anatomy, with my shamanic practitioner skill set, where we journey into the different domains of reality. So we can journey into the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the soul level. And it was truly astounding, the journeys my heart took me on. And as it took me initially into the journeys into the 4 chambers, which is actually what the whole book is based upon. And I journeyed following the flow of the blood. And I could see that the 4 chambers carry the same medicine, the way it works with the body and the blood and the lungs, as our 4 seasons. And as I discovered that, I was like, this is awesome. It's really teaching me these deeper clues and keys and portals that exist within our body. And another key teaching, which I don't share so much in the book, I just share a little bit, but for me, was also in my coronary arteries, because that's where I had most of my issues on the left. And as I journeyed into the coronary arteries, I immediately could realize that the coronary arteries' only function is to supply the heart. And the heart is a metaphor of you. So, and the coronary arteries, what it revealed to me was that they were the rivers of blood from my ancestors. And I had a lot of wounding here, especially on the feminine, on the left, wounding held in the feminine, where there was so much venom and poison in there from women turning on each other, the sister wound, the mother wound, stretching back, centuries and centuries back. And I had then closed my heart to receive this. And this is where my issue was. And it was extraordinary, really.
That is extraordinary. And you say so much right there. So let's just back up for a minute. First and foremost, that you've brought in your shamanic teachings, the integrative forms of healing, in with your medical, right? I mean, that's so needed right now. And we don't find that many doctors are doing that. So I really applaud you for that, because we need both. We definitely need both.
Absolutely need both. And I do feel that it was already there, a marriage between the mind and the body, the spirit and the soul, the masculine and the feminine, in that way that we bridge more of the modern way of understanding our body also with these ancient wisdom traditions. And as the ancient wisdom traditions, for me, it's like the shamanic journey. As I'm then brought through all this wisdom, really, it's been brought through for a modern world. So although I work now very much with Norse shamanism, where we're really tapping into Seder magic, which is, it's ancient, it's a very feminine based shamanic tradition, we're not bringing it through the way it was. We're bringing that power and that medicine and that wisdom through, but it shows up and reveals itself for us in the way that we can now weave it into our modern world. And I do feel the world today really needs the medicine and the wisdom of the mothers, of the feminine, to be brought back up through our roots in order to integrate with the masculine, with the mind, in a healthy, balanced way again. Because I do feel that the old patriarchal structures are crumbling and the feminine is rising. And then it's for both of us to find a way to marry it together within us. Because of course we contain masculine and feminine energies within all of us.
Yeah. And as you talk about in the book too, the condor and the ego coming together, I agree so much. And yes, the masculine is crumbling and they're fighting so hard to keep holding on to. So I know in our country, we're like going, what is going on?
Yes.
Right? Like, oh my gosh, yesterday I just saw a movie one of my clients and friends wrote with Lily Ledbetter, who helped the equal pay. And in there, the movie was beautiful. But I kept thinking, wow, this didn't happen until 2008, 2009. Like, how could it be just then? Right. But this energy. And so we have to hold that light and we have to be able to bring it through and not lose with despair. It's never going to happen and lose that power that we're holding. But we do have to hold that vibration of energy and bring it through. I love the way you're weaving all this in. And I think that as we can drop into the heart, but it takes a lot of getting out of the fear. Let's just take a moment and give a description of how you are dividing up the chambers of the heart. Because I know as we talked before we hit record, like I do work with the medicine wheel and the 4 directions and the seasons. So if you could give us a little description of the 4 chambers of the heart and how you're working with that.
Yes. So the 4 chambers of the heart, the way I journeyed in was to follow the flow of the blood. And the way the blood flows is that it comes back into the heart, into the first chamber, and now it's poor in oxygen. So it's the deoxygenated blood coming back into the first chamber of the heart. And I realized that this is like poor in spirit, poor in oxygen. It's all of that which we are meant to let go of. And this is the medicine of autumn, when we are starting to witness within ourselves, what am I meant to shed? What am I meant to let go of? What is now poor in life force that I'm just meant to release like an old skin? And then I followed the flow of the blood, and I went into the second chamber. And as I went into the second chamber, I was actually met here by the dark mothers, the primordial dark mothers that births the light. They are the ones that are present very much in early winter. And they showed me that this is their cauldron of transformation. This is where we're journeying into the darkness of the winter. And it may seem as if it's very still on the surface, but deep inside, there is so much happening where we are being invited to really witness what is here in the depth of the darkness in our underworld. What is it that we are now meant to witness? It's the witnessing that brings on the healing. so that we can transform our wounds into wisdom and our shadows into light. And this is one of the real powerhouses in the seasons, and also actually in the heart. The second and the fourth chamber are the biggest, because the second chamber then will pump up the blood up into the lungs to become oxygenated. And as I follow the flow of the blood, this just amazed me. And I followed the flow of the blood, and I saw my lungs being like a cosmic angel breathing in spirit. And I'm like, inspiration. Of course, it's inspiration. I'm breathing in spirit. And this is the season of the winter solstice, when we are in the middle of the darkness and we are receiving the light of something new, the light of new dreams, new visions, new medicine, new healing. And in the Norse and Celtic traditions, this was called dream time. This is when we're actually receiving the light-filled seeds of something new we're meant to weave into being. And we actually here work with the spirit weavers. And I'm like, this is so cool that this is happening with my lung and my heart. And then I flowed with the blood down into the third chamber, and with all this light-filled, spirit-filled dreams and visions and medicine now. And I realized that this chamber is like early spring, when we are, and here the light mothers, so all the solar goddesses, they met me and they said, you are here now meant to receive the light from us, so that your dreams and visions can be nourished by this light. And this is where I had a problem in my heart, both in my heart and then also in the coronary arteries, because there was blood leaking back into this chamber. And they told me that we're keeping some of this blood for you because you're too good with just giving it away. And we want you to also learn to keep some of this goodness for you. And that was my whole issue, that I had to work on healing. And then I followed the flow of the blood into the fourth chamber, which is also a powerhouse. And I realized that this is like early summer, where we're meant to move through our rebirth by allowing our dreams and visions to receive so much light, to be really powered by that fire, so they can be birthed into being. And just like we are meant to share them in the world, so others can benefit from the fruits of our wisdom, the fourth chamber now delivers it to the body in order to nourish the whole body. And the body represents the world, whilst the heart represents us. And again, when I saw this, I'm like, this is amazing, because this is happening in our bodies for every heartbeat, the same that happens in the seasons for every year. There is something here for me to really pay attention to. And the journey it took me on was to heal my relationship with the feminine, both the darkness and the light. Because I was very comfortable with the dark mothers, I was less comfortable with receiving the nourishing light from the feminine. I was very good with receiving the light from the mind, from the masculine, but not from the feminine. And in the Norse tradition, we actually work, the whole Norse shamanic path is very feminine, and we work with the light mothers as being feminine, both in the darkness and the light. And that makes so much sense to me. And I think that was part of what I was meant to dive into, to heal these deep, deep ancestral wounds. And I had to step into my own ancestral lineage, I feel, in order to do that.
Yeah, beautiful. And very much resonates with how I work with the medicine wheel as well. And the Toltec traditions, the dreaming time and all. And especially that winter, the dark light mother. We go deep. We go so deep. And sometimes like, okay, enough. And I know this past winter, I went really deep. I went through my father's tradition in this year, but yet the feminine energy through my father's tradition was so much what was keeping me back. And just to have the ability to go in and face it and then use your other tools and bring that forward, it's so important. It really helps us to do that and to really understand, okay, what is my heart? What am I saying? And again, like most of us, we just live in that mind, right? We just keep churning and churning. But what do people really want? To be loved, to feel that. And for women, it's really hard. I know where I'm born, here down in the deep south of the United States, the receiving, we're just givers. Stand behind your man, do this, put yourself behind that. It's like have that trouble. So that natural ability to receive is not so natural. Right? So kind of what you were saying too. So we have to have that time and the understanding. And I love the way you describe though, Not many people will admit, like, oh, I could understand the dark, but I need the light. But that light coming in is so powerful. The light
Yeah.
is shifting now. We are moving through a huge lift in consciousness. So we do have to be able to open up to receive it. So I love that. I think it's quite beautiful. And that flow of blood, and then just really opening up the heart to that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And to make that journey from the mind into the heart. And this was, I've been on this path for a long time. I really thought I had really connected with my heart. And my heart was showing me, yes, you have. And there are deeper layers. There is more here. There's so much more magic for you to awaken within you. And I love that, actually, that the journey just continues and that there is so much more feminine wisdom and magic for us to bring through, because I feel that we have had it suppressed, both that we did it ourselves and suppressed also from society and patriarchy. But we also suppressed it ourselves due to the fear of what happened when we embodied this wisdom and this power fully.
It is time to bring her back. Yes, I do. I agree with that so much. And I know from my own, healing part of that energy and bringing it forward, it's like so much more opens up. And I agree with you on the healing. We always think, oh, didn't I do that? Like I could hear
Yeah.
myself saying the same thing to my teachers. I know I've been here, but there is a deeper level. And how
Yeah.
many times do we want to just push our ancestors away? No, I don't want to be a part of that and think that we can just go from this point without recognizing that is what's flowing through our blood. That
Yeah.
is how we activate. That is what our behavior is showing us. So honoring it and recognize it. I talk a lot about like forgiveness, but loving it. Thank you for showing up. But now I choose, this path for me. And I think right now that's where we are, right? We
Yeah.
can't go backwards, even though it may feel like, again, I'll just kind of preface this with my country right now that we are going backwards, but we're really getting ready for that huge leap forward. And we have to continually bring these forward and keep doing that deeper and deeper healing. Very important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, though, it will get you when it will get you. So
I
I
agree.
I couldn't at all relate to ancestral healing. I really couldn't. And I definitely had a resistance to it, because at one level I knew there was so much there. And then when my mom passed away, that's when it really got me, because as she passed away, it was like she had buffered a lot of that I saw as the ancestral venom of the feminine. And then it started to come into me. It started to kind of be downloaded into me, and I changed. I could feel I was being poisoned. And my husband even told me, "You're not being yourself." And that's when I was in deep meditation one day. I write about this in the book. This was before my heart attack. So I was in deep meditation shortly after mom had passed away and we'd had her funeral. And I was in deep grief. And then Freya, Norse goddess Freya, she came and she journeyed with me, and she took me to the land of ice. And she showed me what was frozen in my inner landscape. And I saw this huge yellow snake stretching back eons of time. And I just knew that's like the venom of the feminine. And then she journeyed with me to meet Hel, our Norse goddess Hel. And that was the first time I had met Hel. And fortunately, I didn't know much about her, because I really don't like the way she's being described, because it's not how I experience her at all. I experience her as incredibly loving, incredibly powerful. Half of her is dark, like the midnight winter sky, and half of her is light, like the midnight sun. So she's that portal of darkness and light, of life, death, and rebirth. And her name means to heal, to make whole, to become whole. And then Christianity changed her into the ruler of hell, and she was really scary. So women started to fear her. And she guided me. She actually guided me how to start to heal this deep poison in my nervous system. She actually stood behind me. She opened up from my third eye all the way up to the top of my head, and then all the way down my spine, open up my nervous system. And I heard her say, "Just let me take it." And she started to pour this out of me. And the relief I felt, I did this several times. This is not just one journey where you do that. But the relief I felt when she did that, I knew this was helping me. And that's when I also then was taken deeper and deeper into actually witnessing what was there in my ancestral lineage, because I had had firsthand experience of becoming poisoned by it. I remember there was an event with my youngest daughter, and we were sitting at a dining table, And in my mind, I felt I was right. She wasn't studying or whatever. And I felt myself lash out. And I just saw the damage it did on her. And I just knew, oh my God, this is the poison. This is a choice point for me. And I apologized. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I just showed up for that healing so much after that. I'm like, I'm not going to pass this poison on. And I want to pass on the medicine, the wisdom. And that is what initiated that ancestral healing. So by the time I had a heart attack, I was very willing to go there. And I do feel it was like a year, a bit more than a year in between the two events in order to prepare me for that deeper journey. So
yeah. Well, I think that's very important what you're saying too, because so often will recognize, oh, this sounds like my mother, or I carry this from my grandmother, I carry this lineage, but yet the recognition that when we do this healing work, we also are clearing. And just like you showed how it can affect your daughter, and that visual you gave us of that venom coming in through our blood, that's like a really great way to visualize it and see it. But that is what happens. Our DNA comes from there, but that doesn't mean we can't change it. That doesn't mean we can't work with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
As you journey in, that ancestral wound becomes the portal of your greatest medicine. Yeah. That's the beauty with it. It's like, but you have to be willing to do that journey. But you definitely receive the gifts from the medicine, because the medicine is revealed as you're healing. You know this. You've been on this path for a long time.
Right. But I love that. Your portal, the portal is the greatest healing. Yeah.
Yeah. And we can't get there with the mind. We have to be willing to journey into the body to really feel it. And for me personally, I think I was on a journey of healing my mind for such a long time. I had a very messed up mind. And I needed to really heal that in order to be able to journey to the depth I go now without freaking out. Yeah. And I feel that is important too. Yeah.
And I think so many people only work on the mind when they go to therapy or trying to heal or trying to do it. They're only working on that one layer. I carry the lineage of the Usui Reiki system with me. And that's part of my teaching too, is like the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. We're working on all those layers. And so we have to get really deep within. And again, dropping out of the mind sounds easier said than done, but it is possible, as you're showing us that you have. And you also did something too, which is really important too. You had to go through those journeys several times. It's not like one time.
No.
And that's what the neuroplasticity of the brain tells us. We start to build those new neurons, but we have to continually work through those new neurons. That doesn't mean it has to be hard. It doesn't mean we're going to go through the same trauma and cry each time. Ideally, hopefully, it's going to be lighter and lighter and lighter as you start to heal and let go, but we still have to continually work with that. And that's the beauty of it.
And also, so it's safe. So every time you go on a shamanic journey, it's like having a session. And every time you have a session, we know this as osteopaths, I know this as a shamanic practitioner, you'll experience a treatment reaction because you will have initiated a change, and then the body needs time to adjust to that. So if you're working, for example, when I work now on healing these deeply held poison in my ancestral lineage, my body, of course, reacted afterwards. I could feel fluid. I could feel really weird. So I needed time to adjust in between. And so that it's always safe. And I'm very keen to make other people realize that your body loves you. So your body will only reveal to you what you are ready to witness, what you are ready to heal, so that it will never reveal everything in one go, because it would just be too much. It reveals it in stages, because the body and the soul, they do work together in this. And I fully trust that, it's what is revealed is what I'm meant to transform. And I feel when the journey is coming to the end, because you're receiving the medicine for that layer. And then I know when it's time to journey in again, because I can feel it. It's like you feel the impulse, the guidance, or things in your outside world is happening to push you to make that journey. And so I constantly trust that dance between my heart, my body, and my soul in that.
Yeah. And I agree. Once you can start to get into there, it's just such a different feeling. It's such a release to get out of all that churning and that anxiousness and that fear. Fear was a big thing for me for a long time. I know, like kind of what you said too, when my mama died, I came back to here where I am now in Birmingham to help my parents through end of life. And after my father passed, I lived with my mother for the last 5 years of her life. And after she died, I felt like, oh my gosh, all her fear came into me. So it's like,
Wow.
Mom, why are you so afraid of life? And then all of a sudden, I had all this fear in me.
Mm.
All right, and then COVID happened, the world shut down, which COVID brought total fear, right? But we do carry this stuff. And then sometimes when our parents do go, we realize, oh, I'm still carrying this part of me. So it does require so much. And I agree with you that even though sometimes it can feel like, why I got too much going on in this healing aspect, but it's what we need. And so
Yeah.
slowing down and finding the tips and the techniques is really important. So your book is awesome. It's laid out really well. Your voice is beautiful on your journeys. I've listened to a couple of your podcasts and just to hear that soothing and the drumbeat taking us on that journey. It is very, very healing and very uplifting. Yeah. Very nice job.
Thank you. Thank you. It's coming back to what you said also with your mom. I felt, perhaps you may have experienced something similar, that having that venom coming into me and changing helped me kind of, it was like my heart broke open and helped me understand at a visceral level, at a much deeper level, the impact this would have had on her and going all the way back in time. And it helped me just feel such deep compassion for that. And also in awe that she was able to buffer it, because she didn't do any of this work. You know, she thought I was weird. So, because we used to run a magazine in Sweden where we shared all this stuff and other people's teachings as well. And she used to buy it in the shop. And I used to ask her, do you read it? And she goes, yeah, I read it. And I said, do you understand it? She said, no, I don't, but I read it because you've written it. It's like, okay. So, and still, she buffered this, you know, from her love. She buffered this. And that was also an amazing insight for me to recognize that, yeah, this wasn't her first rodeo. It's the same when she passed away. She knew how to do it. You know, there I was with all my shamanic teachings and all of that. And I recognized when I was in there with her, no, she doesn't want me to do any of this. She just wants me to be here. She knew what to do. And it was a really humbling and amazing experience to recognize that we all know how to do this. We all know how to heal at that deeper level. We also know how to protect those we love. And yes, I feel very fortunate that I also know all these tools and have all this training and all these experiences. But my mom still knew. And
I think
feel
that's our
that is
soul work, though, right?
of
Like
course,
when we
of
can
course.
understand our soul and our soul's journey, we do know.
Yeah.
Yeah. After my mom died, I developed, well, I was kind of sick right up to it. And then after she died and traveling back and forth, and it was like asthma, bronchitis, pneumonia,
Wow.
asthma, and it was like a repetitive pattern. And it was
Yeah.
all, where do we hold
All
that?
that fear. Yeah.
Yeah. And our
Yeah.
chest and our
Yeah.
breath and our
Yeah.
giving, our receiving, all of that. And so that became like, I have to heal. Like
Yeah.
I've never been sick. And now all this is catching up with me. And
Yeah.
so it caused me to go deep within me and figure out what is it I need to do. And I
Yeah.
still have a little preponderance. You can hear it sometimes in my chest, you know. I mean, I did get COVID and all that, but so it does remind me too, okay, emotionally, what's going on? What's going on, Tara? Where's your breathing? What are you doing? Right. And so
Mm,
I think when we can listen to the body, as
mm.
you're saying in your book, that it becomes very important. I agree with you 100%. The body has an innate ability to self heal. We just have
Absolutely.
to slow down to find those messages. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And also I feel that the body is like a tuning fork for the soul. So the body
Yeah.
is beautifully showing us, ooh, you know, there's something for you to pay attention to here, something for you to change here. So it's not that, and this is what I feel, some of the earlier self-help movement, it became more of a judgment that if you're ill, it's because you thought wrong. And instead, I feel no, the body is our teacher. it's showing us what it is that we need to pay attention to in order for us to awaken more. So, and that is a very different way of embracing that healing journey than feeling that, oh, I've done something wrong. Instead of saying, actually, this is a portal of awakening.
I agree.
It's like you are being guided and invited to step through the portal of healing a very deep ancestral wounding that probably your mom was carried from her ancestors, and now it's in you. So you then become the conduit through which this old wound can heal. So when you then are experiencing this, it's not that you've done anything wrong. Instead, you're doing everything right because you're saying yes to that very sacred assignment that, yeah, I will step into this. I will witness. I am willing to let it teach me. So I can be the portal through which the medicine can flow.
Which is where the integrative work comes in. When we can stop and use the other tools and recognize how the energy and the flow and all this does come from deeper teachings and integrated. I'm not saying we don't need our doctors, but I'm saying we need an integration of how we do go about healing. And I know that's what I needed too. The medicines, all that. Yeah, this is what you're supposed to do. But it really wasn't getting to where I needed to be. And I knew this too, right? I knew this too, but it was really requiring me to go deeper. Because again, like we said, like, oh, I've healed this. Oh, I've done this. But it was asking me to go deeper. And I think every year we come back around that wheel, we come to that winter season. It's like, okay, deeper, deeper.
Yeah.
Let's go in, right? I mean, like, yeah, that black light mother, she comes around and she's going to shine on what we need. And having the courage, though, heart, energy, courage to go in is really important. But look at the healing. I mean, I can tell you how much I've grown since winter. Yeah, coming into a lot more of my own power and being visible and getting out there and feeling that strength of my teachings, right? It's like, yeah, we need this. And every year, I think we go through much growth. And I think it's so important. We never stop growing. I mean, look, from a baby on. But yet we do resist it, right? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
we do. We do.
But I've seen it through my daughter. I've seen it through my son, but especially my daughter. I've seen the differences. She's more in the workplace, and I've seen how she stood up and just a difference, right? And now as she comes forward, bringing new life in, right? It's like now I'm getting to witness this from a whole new perspective, and it's so important. It really is. So your book is just really, truly beautiful. What is your mission with this?
My mission? I wouldn't say I have a mission. I would say that it's actually the mothers that are guiding me, and I'm just showing up, following their guidance. So, and letting their wisdom, their medicine flow to where it's meant to flow. And I just try to actually step out of the way as much as possible and just follow where they want me to be.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Definitely. So where can people find your work and your book, and what else are you doing? What are you teaching?
Well, I actually teach shamanic energy medicine and sadomatic. That is definitely where the mothers are bringing me to be and show up and share this incredible wisdom that I was taken into thanks to my heart. So they can find me on nordiclight.academy. That's for the shamanic training. And then they can find me on cissywilliams.com. And I have a journey there for everybody to listen to that goes into the sacred medicine in the 4 chambers of the heart. And there are many, many journeys also up on the podcast called Awaken Your Inner Wisdom, many shamanic journeys, many prayers, interviews. I really am passionate about sharing how we do have this incredible inner wisdom within us. And as we allow it to speak with us through our body, through our soul, and we're following that guidance, it really does awaken us. And yeah, that's my main passion.
Yeah, it's a beautiful passion. And I will again say that I have listened to your podcast and listened to the website ones as well. And the journeys are just beautiful. And so we follow them. We go in, we allow for that healing to come forward. And then we do a little journaling. We notice, where is it taking me? What is the healing that I am working on? And if we be gentle with ourselves, and that's part of it too. It's part of that divine feminine. Right. I know I was a single mother raising kids in New York. And so, yeah, some of that masculine, got to do, and can't even really show some of the feminine energy. Now is that time for me to blossom in that way. And so we're always growing and moving through both aspects. But that divine feminine is coming through along with the divine masculine. We need both growth right now.
Yeah.
We really do, in order to see the world balance. And Mother Earth is speaking to us. I know you were just saying there's a storm there. There's been storms here and earthquakes up, and we had one up in Tennessee recently. It's like, yeah, everything is being shooken up. And so having the ability to go deep within, trusting that soul's journey. I mean, what are we really here for anyway? Right? What are we here for? Right? And so that can help us through our journey in life. And I love the way you're using the metaphors and the teachings that you're offering in this book. And it is a great way. And that resonance for each season has a different aspect to our lives. We're not just the same old time, the same way every day. It allows for that growth to come in. So yeah, congratulations on that. Really beautiful. Forward by Heather Ash. We'll give her a shout out as well. Love her
she's
work.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love Heather Ash. When she wrote that forward and I received it, I cried. It was just, I love Heather Ash. I've loved her for a long time. And she was actually one of the first people I spoke to after my mom had passed away. And her words were like a soothing balm. And she's such a true beacon of light and wisdom of that feminine.
I've met her down in Teowatacona, down there at the Dreaming House. And she is the lineage of some of my teachers as well. So yes, beautiful as well. Reading one of her books right now about love. Yeah. One of her books right now that she wrote with Don Miguel Jr. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
She took me through that journey, actually, that she does in the book. It was amazing. So in one of the times when I interviewed her for the podcast, I asked her, could you do for me? And it's like, yeah. And it was, she's just awesome. I love her.
Yeah. Well, we'll get her on the show too. Well, it has been fabulous talking to you. And I know we've kind of said it, but I always like to come back around and just kind of close the show and leave our listeners with an uplifting thought. How would you say that this work that you're doing with Your Heart Knows How to Heal You can help to empower the spirit right now?
I feel that your heart is the portal into the world of spirit, into the domain of your soul. It's the portal into all of that, which you long for. It's the bridge between our humanity and our divinity, the lower world and the upper world, the darkness and the light. It is that compass that you follow so that you can allow your spirit to guide you on where to go, what to do, what to say, and to whom. The heart is key. Yeah.
The heart is key. Yeah. Allow the spirit to be guided by the heart. So needed right now.
Yeah. It's like our heart is the receiver of spirit's wisdom, so we can feel it through our heart. Some of us can obviously pick up spirit's guidance in other ways, but we can all feel it in our heart. That is one of the most trusted ways of just knowing in you when something feels right rather than when something feels off. And we all have that. We all have that ability. We all have that powerhouse within us. Our heart is truly an incredible, intuitive receiver of your spirit's and your soul's wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Best of luck with your work.
Thank you. It's been awesome connecting with you today. I really feel like a kindred spirit. So
I agree. Thank you so much to your spirit. Namaste. Yes, the heart is our guide. It is a portal to greater medicine, to connect deeply with the ancient wisdom that we each carry. And when we work with our spirit, our soul, it isn't just about ourselves. It is the lineage that we carry forward and backward. We can shift, we can grow, and we can change. It is possible. And there are so many tools to help you along this journey. You just have to take that next step. Be sure to check out Cissi's work. And if you find that you're ready to take that next step and want to know how, schedule that complimentary call with me, and I can help you figure out what that next step forward is for you. Big shout out to Inner Traditions for publishing the book. Thank you so much for listening. I am your host, Terry Ann Hyman, to your spirit. Namaste. Hey, Reiki classes coming up. Be sure to check out my website, terryannhyman.com, for all my latest offerings. I do have a Reiki Master Retreat in June, right at the summer solstice.